channel. This is Nicole with Made from Scrap, and welcome to my mini photo journal that I've made here. And this is going to be the walkthrough and the tutorial. So I'm going to start off with showing this, and it is 4 1/4 inches wide and 8 1/4 inches tall. I've used a couple of sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock to generally make the base, and then some additional cardstock I've used for matting and such. So let's get to it. I have this little tiny band that is magnetic right here, so this holds it closed. I have the beautiful script writing here. This is from Scrap Diva Designs. It is called the Valentine Words number 3, and it's just gorgeous here. Be mine sentiment. And then when you open this up, the paper collection that I'm using is called Love is in the Air. That's from Country Craft Creations. So I just think that it is super sweet here. So I've used some red cardstock. This is real red from Stampin' Up. And then when you open it up here, you see this beautiful pink paper with the airplanes. And then on the right hand side, on the left, what is this? The left hand side, I have used Victorian frame. This is another Scrap Diva die. I'm trying to use my dies this year. I am committed to using them more and more and more in my projects. So I've used this frame, and then there's an internal frame that I also went ahead and used here. And just by cutting it out of different cardstock, this is an artist antique gray that is from Country Craft Creations. It's the artisan cardstock. And then I used some My Colors cardstock, soft blue, for the outer limit there. So that is a little tiniest frame that gets cut out, put around that rectangle. And then I just used some jemmies right there. And then when I open this up, isn't this adorable? We have this 3 by 4 cut apart here from the collection. I have a pocket here in the middle, and then we have this additional space here for photo, and I made a little tuck spot. This is from the border strip that's in the collection. It's just a border of little envelopes. I'll show you a piece of it that's left. And I just cut those apart. I layered them up all, wonky, and then I layered it on a piece of white artisan cardstock and only glued underneath at the bottom so that I could provide that little tuck spot there. And then on this center pocket, again, I used the sentiment die, the Valentine Words number 3 from Scrap Diva, and this says lots of love. Then I have in the pocket a couple of photo mats here. So you can tell this is the reverse from this. So the inside square that was cut out from that My Colors cardstock I've used here, and then that antique gray is the outer border. Then for this word Cupid, I cut out 2 pieces of white artisan cardstock, and it was from this Scrap Diva die that is Valentine Word Tags. That's from her new release. And then just layered it up on this little bit of black My Colors cardstock here that I had. This was a scrap. And then another cut apart, 3 by 4 cut apart from the collection. And I just backed that with some real red. And then another cut apart from the collection that I trimmed it down. So I trimmed this down to 3 7/8 inches wide. And then the height of this is 5 7/8 inches. Isn't that beautiful? And then I just put some white artisan cardstock on the back for a photo mat there. All right, then we have this cute little heart balloon, and that's also part of the new die collection that Scrap Diva has. This is the Valentine Gnome add-on. So you can see it has the little heart balloon here, and then I used one of these pieces for the string. I also went ahead and used my little gel pen here to just make some little highlights on the balloon. And the same thing over here, this same collection of dies. I used the cutting plate for the hearts. I just used one of them and put that up here in the corner. I felt like it needed something on this white cardstock. So isn't that just so adorable? So let me put this in here. Okay. Then this folds up, so you can see how many spaces there are already to add photos. But in addition to that, you have the book opens up like this. You have a lot of space here to go ahead and add additional photos on. And then this is the back side. So I went ahead and you can see layered with the My Colors soft blue there, and I did some stitching. This was the only pieces that I stitched around though. And then when you open it up here, it's kind of like a little surprise area, but it gives you a nice little spot to go ahead and add your photo. I only glued in the middle this little ephemera piece that is from the collection of Love is in the Air, so that I could just have it as a little tuck spot there and there. And then on the bottom here, oh, was I out of frame? Here we go. Let me show you again, just in case. So we have the little tuck spot there for the photo, and then we have the tuck spot here for the photo. Okay, and then pushing this up, this is another sheet from the collection, and I simply used my straight edge and my ruler to go. I'm sorry, my, what do you call these things? The knife, the craft knife, and my ruler to cut out a little tiny slit here and here across the page so I could make a couple of tuck spots. And so with that, this is just the real red. I had cut out a heart, okay, and this heart is from this die set. This is the Heart Suitcase Tags, also a new one from this month. And then I have Kisses here that was cut out, and that was also from the Valentine word tags. So you have Kisses here, and I used some beautiful foil paper for that. And then I also used this same die for Be Mine. So Be Mine, and I just did it out of the same real red cardstock. I thought maybe by doing that it's tone on tone, and it's really the same paper on the same paper, and it looks like those conversation hearts to me. So anyway, I thought that was super adorable. So have a little tuck spot there, and this kind of goes in there. And then these are a couple of the ephemera pieces that I just backed on some cardstock, black and white, and I just think that they're so cute. They're so cute. So that is my little book, and it closes up just like that with the magnet. And let's go ahead. Oh, one other thing I want to point out. So this was my trial one, and I want to go ahead and put a gusset in here because, yeah, I wanted to make it chunky. So I did. So let's get started with the tutorial. Okay, everybody, so let's get started with the tutorial. You're going to need 2 sheets for all of the base pieces that are starting out at 12 by 12 in order to use this cutting guide that I have for you here that we're going to end up walking through. So take a picture or pause your screen and you can have that to refer back to. But I'm going to walk through all of the measurements with you as we cut along. So I'm going to put my first piece in my cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 6 1/4 inches. So that's my first cut, is 6 1/4 inches wide. And then from that, I'm going to go ahead and cut down, put that to the side, cut this one down to 4 3/4 inches. Okay, so 4 3/4 inches. Set that aside. That's going to be our B piece, and we're going to cut this one more time, again at 4 3/4 inches. And we have 2 pieces now that we're going to set aside as our B piece. Then that remaining strip that you have should measure 2 1/2 inches in width. And we're going to go ahead and turn that, and we're going to cut this down to 5 1/4 inches. Okay, so this is your scrap. We'll set that aside, and this is going to be the piece that we just cut, is your C piece. So now we have 2 B pieces and 1 C piece. Next, you're going to take that first drop piece that we had from our very first cut, and it should measure 5 3/4 inches wide, and then you should have you should be able to cut this to cut a, let's see, I want to cut off 1 1/2 inches. So we want to push this over to measure 4 1/4 inches. And we're going to cut the whole length. Okay, just like that. Now this piece measures 4 1/4 inches, so turn it, and let's go ahead and cut this at 8 3/4 inches. 8 3/4 inches. So just like that. So this piece is going to be your A. So I'm going to go ahead and put this underneath the stack that I've been creating so that I have A, B, B, C, just like that. Okay, I'm going to move these off to the side. Next, we're going to have this piece right here, and it should right now measure 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and that's going to be our E piece. This is a photo mat. Okay, so set that aside. Next, you're going to take this 1 1/2 inch strip and you're going to turn it, and we're going to cut this down to 3 1/2 inches. 3 1/2 inches. And this is going to be our D piece. So I'm going to put that on top of my stack, and then I'll put my photo mat that I had off to the side, my E piece, on top of that. So I have everything layered up. These are the first 2 scraps from our first sheet of 12 by 12. So I'm going to put that off to the side so I don't get it mixed up. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my second piece of 12 by 12. Okay? The first cut that we're going to make on this one is going to be at 8 1/2 inches. And we're going to cut this the entire length, just like that. Okay? Now this 8 1/2 inch piece, we're going to turn it, and we're going to cut it at 8 1/4 inches. 8 1/4 inches. All right? This is going to be our F piece. So I'm going to set that off to the side. And then I'm going to grab the first one that I cut off, and that's a total of 12 inches long, right? And I'm going to go ahead and turn this. Let's just make sure this is the 3 1/2 inch piece. Do I have something else? No, sorry, this is 3 1/4 inch piece is what we need. So that we're going to cut out one of the H's from. So we're going to turn this, and we're going to cut off 4 1/4 inches in length. And then you need to rotate it one more time, and we need to cut it down to 3 1/4 inches. So this is going to be another photo mat. 3 1/4 inches by 4 1/4 inches. Set that off to the side. And then you're going to take this drop piece. This is the one that measures 3 3/4 inches. And you're going to go ahead and turn this one, and we're going to cut it at 4 1/4 inches. Okay? So this piece measures 3 3/4 by 4 1/4. This is going to be our G piece. Okay. Now, the last thing we're going to do is cut this one down to another H. So we need it to measure 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. It's another photo mat. So we're going to go ahead and cut this at 3 1/4. And make sure that this is at 4 1/4, and it is. So that is our second H piece. And these are our 2 scraps that we have left from our second piece, so you can set those to the side as well. All right, we've done all of the cutting. Now we need our scoreboard. Let me grab that. I lied, you had one more scrap piece. It just fell out of my cutter. That's all right. Okay, so here is the scoreboard. I'm going to pick up my first stack that I had, and I'm going to turn it over so that I am starting with my A piece. Okay, this is my base, and we're going to put this in our scoreboard with the 8 3/4 inch measurement at the top. And we're going to go ahead and score this at 1/2 inch. Okay, set that off to the side. We're going to do all the scoring. Next we have our B piece. Put this in the scoreboard with the 4 3/4 inches at the top, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Okay. And we're going to do exactly the same thing for that second piece. Same measurement, 4 3/4 inches at the top, score it at 1/2 inch. Okay. Next we're going to have the C piece. This is a pocket, and we're going to put this in our scoreboard with 5 1/4 inches at the top. We're going to go ahead and score it at 1/2 inch. We're going to rotate it 90-degree turn so that we have the 2 1/2 inches at the top. We're going to score that at 1/2 inch. And we're going to rotate it one more time, 90 degrees again, so that we are back to 5 1/4 inches at the top, and we're going to go ahead and score it again at 1/2 inch. So you should end up with 3 score lines on this piece, 2 on the sides and 1 at the bottom, and this is what's going to end up being our pocket. Next we're going to have our closure piece, which is going to be our D piece, and we're going to set this in our scoreboard with the 3 1/2 inches at the top. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch. Okay, that's going to create a little 1/4 inch gusset right there. Okay. Next in our stack is our photo mat, so no scoring there. And then lastly, I'm going to take my next pieces, flip that over. So I should have my F piece. This is going to be my hidden page. And we're going to put this in our scoreboard with the 8 1/2 inches at the top. And we're going to score that right down the middle at 4 1/4 inches. 4 1/4 inches. Set that off. Then we have our G piece, which is our flip out, and this is going to be put in our scoreboard with the 3 3/4 inches at the top, and we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. Okay, my friends, all we have left are the 2 additional photo mats, and those have no scoring, and we are done with our scoreboard. So let's start the assembly. I'm going to take my whole entire stack. I'm going to flip it over one more time. I am back to my A piece at the top of my stack, and I'm going to have the score line at the top. I'm going to go ahead and do all of my burnishing now. So I'm going to fold that 1/2 inch, burnish it. Okay. I'm going to flip it over so that that 1/2 inch flap is at the back. Okay. And I'm going to take my 2 B pieces and I'm going to go ahead and fold and burnish those. So that's one. And this is the second one. These are our side flaps. They are going to get tucked under, the 1/2 inch flap gets tucked under the A piece like so, just like that. And then this is on the opposite side, the second B piece, and that's going to come down here. And I did offset these so that you should see each of those 1/2 inches. You have a little bit of space at the top and the bottom. Okay. I'm just showing you right now how this is going to stack. So let's go ahead and get the glue on. If you use double-sided tape, you can do that. But I'm going to go ahead and place glue on the inside of this little flap here. Okay, and then I'm going to tuck it underneath the A piece. I'm looking out for where that little 1/2 inch flap is to make sure that I don't overlap it. And you can maybe see right there that I have a little tiny gap. Okay. Go ahead and burnish that down. Make sure that you can fold your piece over without any issue. Okay. And then you're going to do the same thing but on the opposite side with your second B piece. Now tuck this one underneath. You can see that I'm offsetting it down here about 1/2 inch. Wrap it around. I'm going to burnish it down. See how we open these up? Just like that. I have one on each side. Let me burnish the back. Okay. So this goes in like this, that goes in like that. All right, I'm opening it back up. I have the 1/2 inch flap at the top. I'll unfold that so you can see it. Next we have our pocket. So I'm grabbing my scissors now. And for the pocket, we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut out these bottom squares, just like that, on both sides. So you have this. I'm going to throw these away. And now I like to fold back the sides of the pocket and then the bottom piece folded up. Okay. And then that way I can place glue on my little flaps on the side, and then I fold the bottom up and I place glue on that bottom flap as well. Now this pocket is going to go at the bottom of your base page. It should fit nicely in between the two flaps on either side, and you can go ahead and burnish that down. All right. So now it closes over like this and like that. Next piece is your closure. So you want to go ahead and burnish those two score lines. Okay, so you should end up with a little 1/4 inch gusset, just like that. Okay, this is going to end up getting tucked around, but we're not going to attach that just yet. Let's finish putting some of the other things together. So we're going to put that closure piece, the D piece, off to the side. We're going to put our E piece off to the side because that's a photo mat. So next you should have your F piece. This is the hidden page. So let's go ahead and fold and burnish the hidden page. Okay, and what you're going to do with your base piece is flip it over to the left, like so. And that top 1/2 inch flap needs to come down. Make sure you burnish that really well. We're going to go ahead and place glue along that 1/2 inch flap. And then with your hidden page folded, the fold to the right, the opening to the left, this is what we're doing. The fold is to the right, the opening is to the left. This is your hidden page. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. So with the opening to the left, we're going to go ahead and set this down right on top of that glue. Okay, line up the bottom, line up the sides. It should match your base piece at this point. And then you can burnish that down, fold it up like so, and burnish it again. Now you have that hidden page attached. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the closure, and we're going to open up that closure piece. We're going to place glue only on the 1/2 inch, not on that 1/4 inch gusset. And that 1/2 inch is going to get glued here to the left hand side, just like this. Make sure that your score line can wrap around like so to the front. And I have it placed here. You can place it at the middle, you can place it at the bottom, as long as you have it where this flap will be able to have a magnet closure underneath. Okay, so mine is placed, let's see, 2 inches from the bottom. So the bottom of the closure is 2 inches from the bottom of the base piece. Okay, all right, let's open this back up, because we're going to move on to our flip out, and our flip out is the G piece. So we're going to go ahead and fold and burnish on that score line, and this gets placed with the glue on the outside of that fold, right there on that 1/2 inch, so that the folded edge gets aligned right here to the inside of this right flap, just like that, so that it will flip out. Okay, burnish it again. All right, now we have our right hand side that will come in, our left hand side that will come in, and now we need to do our magnet closure here. So let me grab my magnets. Okay, I've grabbed my magnets, so I have 2 of them here. I'm going to place one underneath the bottom of this closure piece. Then I'm going to go ahead and open up, well, you need to think about this. Where do you want to put the second piece that I have here? Okay, if you're going to do double matting, a bunch of matting, then you probably want to go ahead and put it on the outside of this one. So let's go ahead and do that. Just might be a little bit of both, but that's okay. All right, don't pull your closure all the way tight. You want to make sure that your gusset is straight up. It's not too far over this way, it's not too far over that way. If you want to have a little bit extra give in your little pocket journal here, then you want to make sure that you have your fold over to the right outside of that, but I'm going to make sure it's straight up, or as straight up as I can make it, and then I'm going to go ahead and press this down, and that is going to have my 2 magnets. Then I like to place a little bit of double-sided tape across them to help hold them in place, just like that. Okay. And my friends, that is the book, the little journal. Now these photo mats, I had placed a couple of them in here, so I'm going to show you. Close up my glue. All right. So here to the side, I have inside to the right, I have a photo mat that was tucked in here. So I have that here. Okay, and I had another one that was here in the pocket. So I have this one in the pocket right there. Let's close up. And then I think this was the last one, was it not? Yeah, that was the last one. So it was on the flip out. So that was going to go here. But you can place these wherever you want, you know. If you're going to put it here, then obviously you don't have any border, so you would have to trim this down. But for right now, until I have all my pattern paper, I'm just going to stick it in this pocket here, and that way I can close this little thing up. And isn't this super cute? I think it's adorable. Very cute, very fun to make, and I hope that you use your scraps from your stash and put together some of these fun projects. I will come back in another video maybe and do a little walkthrough of this one, because I'm going to go ahead and use scraps from Little Builder. This is a really fun Echo Park collection that I got from Country Craft Creations, and as you can see, I have a bunch of scraps that are left here that I think the width of this will work just wonderfully with. So, and lots of ephemera that I received in the package as well. So I'll have fun with that, and you have fun with your paper. Leave me a comment below. Would you like to see more of these little mini photo journals, is what I called it? And maybe I'll put together a little mini series. I'm thinking I will, but let me know if you think that's a good idea. Do you love the collection? Please check it out. Artisan cardstock is my go-to. That's available from Country Craft Creations, and I look forward to bringing you more content. But make sure you subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot, and I look forward to seeing you back here real soon. Until next time, everyone, happy scrapping, you all. Goodbye.